think we've had a few people cover some of the unique aspects of ocean energy, but I'll just touch on it briefly. It is very special. You know, Carnegie's a wave energy developer, so we have an intimate understanding of how special it is. Ocean energy includes tidal as well. Its special attribute is its predictability. Wave energy, however, is its consistency. So the animation here is actually just from a few days ago using Windy, and it's the wind over the ocean. What's important to recognise here is that, you know, the waves that are over the Southern Ocean there, you know, sort of 1,000 kilometres below Madagascar, are the ones that are going to deliver the waves to Australia, whether there's wind on Australia or not. You know, so it's created by the wind, but the ocean is essentially the world's largest battery in terms of storing the integral of wind energy on the surface, as well as the transmission line that brings it all to us. So it's pretty remarkable, and I just thought I'd mention that to kick off. One too many. So yeah, there's increasing activity in the blue economy. You know, there's a lot more demand out there for clean energy. There are also, I guess, many benefits that, in addition to just purely extracting the electrons. But you see there in the middle graphic some of the many aspects of ocean energy that really drive the value, in addition to just purely the electrons. We're talking about the creation of jobs. We're talking about the social acceptance of using the ocean. So there's many things to consider, but one that I'd like to draw your attention to that is a real challenge for the industry is cost. You know, most people in the power industry are kind of like economists in that they just look at the numbers, or maybe I should say accountants. I don't know. Reese is glaring at me there, but you know, it's all about the dollars, and anyone's electron is the same as anyone else's. You know, so there was a really important piece of work done in the UK recently, in fact across a bunch of European partners under the Evolve project, and that's where I've drawn this plot on the left-hand side there. And what it shows in respect to wave energy is that in Ireland, when you get to about 6% of wave energy penetration into the grid, it means you've got about 1 gigawatt of wave energy generation. Well, you've reduced the cost of dispatching that electricity by almost €250 million. So wave energy has a real place a part to play in the energy sector. And yes, it costs more now than some of the incumbent renewables because it's in its infancy. But they, as Alex said before, you know, they're all in their infancy once. So it's worth supporting it, even just on an economic basis, and that's without putting in all the carbon reduction and other things we absolutely need to do, and we need to do urgently. Okay, so narrowing the focus down to something we're looking at very closely is the context of wave energy in aquaculture. So we know that operations are moving offshore. We heard about the push and pull factors from CM earlier. We also heard that it's not just salmon farming, it's kelp farming potentially, and oysters perhaps as well. There's many reasons for that. And what you need out there is a consistent supply, and diesel is doing virtually all the work at the moment, as I understand, in powering those offshore aquaculture needs. But we have a source right there that's a 24/7 available source in the open ocean sites, which is wave energy. we know that batteries can kind of supply briefly across the gaps. So if we think about wind and solar, they have those gaps, but they can only manage those sort of short-term pieces. We really need something that's firm and underpinning a more baseload demand. So what was created, led by Carnegie and supported very well by the Blue Economy CRC, is a project which intends to energise aquaculture feed barges with the wave energy that's passing underneath them. So we created this, what we call MoorPower system, and the first part of that process in bringing that to market is the MoorPower scale demonstrator project. It's supported also by, I think, what are clearly the future customers of this technology, at least in our local area, which is Huon and Tassal, to ensure that it's heading in the right direction as something that will solve their challenges with something that's it's obviously very hard to abate the power needs offshore. So I think in terms of the status of that project, we've been underway for 18 months or so. There's been a variety of things taking place, obviously a lot of design work. We've had UTAS installing sensors on Huon barges and measuring motions and those kinds of things. And that's really informing the design. We've got to the point where you see the design on the top right, which is the completed detailed design of this demonstrator barge. It's an 8-metre barge. We're in assembly at the moment, and for those of you coming on the tour, you will see exactly the real-time state of that assembly. We're only months away from deploying. That'll be at our site here in North Fremantle, which is the site that's shown in the bottom right. It's about 300 metres offshore, and our headquarters, which is where this is only a few kilometres from here. We also undertook a market study because the scale demonstrator is obviously leading on to something much bigger and more critical, which is a commercial project. You can see an artist's rendition of that on a sort of generic feed barge there. We're targeting kicking that project off in Q3 this year, and looking for partners as well, many of which will come from the partners we've had on the scale demonstrator project. It'll be an amazing opportunity to really demonstrate the ability for wave energy to decarbonise parts of the aquaculture industry. We're targeting about a 50% reduction in this prototype of diesel demand, and we think we can head towards 90 plus. And if I think about renewable diesel and the other things that I mentioned, you can see the possibility of being a 100% renewable and decarbonised power system on these barges. There's of course some other side benefits that have also been touched on previously, currently with transferring diesel on and off, onto these barges, off the supply barges, that's an environmental spill risk, and by removing that need, or at least reducing it considerably, you reduce those risks. I think the other thing in terms of bringing a new product to market is seeing is believing. So this project will allow people from around the world to see what's possible, and that'll obviously go a long way in accelerating the uptake. If we talk about the scale of the industry, we can see Australia is mixed in the others there in that plot. So there is a huge potential. Not all of the sites in all those countries are blessed with the wave energy that we have here, but there are plenty. Certainly Chile has some good waves on its coasts. So there's a huge potential there. This kind of project build capacity in really an untapped field, and build capacity in Australia's ability to deliver this kind of project. So yeah, we think it's an amazing opportunity. We're already well into the preparations for rolling out that project. And yeah, if you feel like you can contribute to it, please let us know. I'm here, my colleagues are here. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks.